Hey everyone, and welcome back to Bleach Brave Souls. And in case you didn't know, guys, K-Lab recently announced that they would be implementing characters taken from the manga into the game. So the 1000-year Blood War arc will be seeing some content in Bleach Brave Souls. And they're starting off with 14 characters in total, and the first 4 have already been announced. And those 4 characters are Kyoraku Shunsui, Kuchiki Byakuya, Toshiro Hitsugaya, and Sajin Komamura. So those 4 characters are the first 4 that they're going to come out with, and presumably it's going to be soon. So I don't know if it's going to be at the end of this month or next month, but I'm assuming it's going to be this month, guys. And I'm really hyped about this, so I decided to make a few videos profiling each of the new characters, the 4 that I mentioned previously. Now, there will be spoilers in this video, so if you haven't read the manga, or if you don't want to be spoiled, you might not want to watch this video. So with that out of the way, today we're going to start with Kyoraku Shunsui, captain of the 8th Division. Now, in the 1000-year Blood War arc, he eventually is promoted to head captain with the death of Yamamoto, and that basically speaks volumes about how powerful Shunsui is and how much seniority he has in the Soul Society. He's one of Yamamoto's first students. He's one of the first captains, along with Jushiro and Retsu. So let's talk about his special in the game, what we saw of it. And K-Lab did release a short trailer profiling each of the new characters and their special animations. So if we take a look at Shunsui's, we can see that it incorporates, the drowning aspect of his Bankai and the, the decapitation aspect of his Bankai, which is very awesome. I'm glad that they incorporated more than one part of the Bankai into the special. But if you guys aren't familiar with what his Bankai does, I may as well go over it very briefly so you have some background. Now, Shunsui's Bankai, Kurumatsu Shinju, or I think it's translated as the double suicide, is structured similar to a Japanese play. There are 4 parts in this play which correspond with the 4 different abilities of the Bankai. Now, the first part of the Bankai is relatively straightforward. It's pretty much whatever damage you do to Shunsui, you do to yourself. So if you stab Shunsui, you also get that same wound on your body. Pretty straightforward, pretty interesting ability. I could see it helping him against enemies that are, maybe, better at swordsmanship or, just better fighters in general, and they're like hitting him quite often. Not really much more to it than that, but like the rest of Shunsui's abilities, like his Shikai abilities, there's this overarching theme that there is a price that Shunsui himself pays when he uses his abilities. Like, there's a risk to Shunsui when he uses his Shikai. There's a risk to Shunsui when he uses his Bankai. So while the payoff during a battle might be great, if Shunsui messes up somehow, he could end up, doing more harm to himself than his opponent. So that is stage 1 of the Bankai. How they could implement that in Bleach Brave Souls, I don't know. Maybe they could have some ability where he uses a strong attack and it gives him a damage shield, so anytime he gets hit, the enemy takes the same amount of damage back. I think that would be a really cool way for them to, kind of pay homage to the manga and the Bankai itself. So that is a possibility. I'm just throwing ideas out there. It would be an entirely new mechanic, but I think it would be perfect for him. And I'm pretty sure that we will be seeing some new mechanics from these characters. Just because it's such a big deal for Bleach as a franchise that, we're getting 1000-year Blood War arc characters animated. Now, moving on to part 2 of Shunsui's Bankai, he inflicts a disease upon his opponent, and presumably it's like a very severe disease. It manifests in the form of these black spots all over your body. I'm assuming that it weakens you considerably. So to bring this into the game, I would assume that you would just have like maybe a weakening proc on one of the strong attacks, just similar to what Barrigan has. So in part 1 and part 2, Shunsui is essentially weakening his opponent, making him like tired out, or making him, more vulnerable to the next stage of the Bankai, which is the 3rd act. And in the 3rd act, it's a really unique ability. Both Shunsui and his opponent are immersed in this bottomless ocean. And what happens in this ocean is that you slowly drown, and the first person to run out of Reiatsu, or spiritual power, is the one who's going to die. Now you can see why this might be a risk to Shunsui as well, because what if Shunsui doesn't have more Reiatsu than his opponent? Shunsui is going to be the one who dies. But I feel like Act 1 and Act 2, the disease, it's meant to weaken his opponent so that Shunsui will have more Reiatsu, and that he won't be the one to drown. So he does have a slight advantage there. But as you can see from the trailer on the new Shunsui in the game, they do implement this part of his Bankai into the special animation. Now the final part, the fourth part of Shunsui's Bankai is the finishing blow. It's basically, he somehow wraps a thread around his enemy's neck, and what this thread does is basically it decapitates his opponent, or no, it makes their head explode, or it's basically a killing blow. It's a mortal wound, it's a fatal wound. That's pretty much game over for the opponent. And in the game, in the special animation for Shunsui that we saw, you can tell that that final part of it is that ability, you know, where the black streak comes across the screen. Basically, for any normal opponent that Shunsui were to face, this would be the end of the fight. This would be a killing blow. But unfortunately, in the manga, the opponent he's facing is not affected by things like this, or he can survive things like that. So pretty much what you can take from this is that as soon as Shunsui activates his Bankai, someone is going to die. It's either going to be Shunsui's opponent or Shunsui himself. And it kind of fits with his views on, you know, fighting and war. I think he stated to Rose and Love after he fought Stark that, you know, when there's a fight, when there's a war, when there's a conflict, immediately both sides are the villains. So in my opinion, it's kind of fitting for his personality and his views. The tragic aspect of it, you know, where both enemies are getting hurt in the Bankai, you know, it kind of goes with his backstory. Well, and I wouldn't say his backstory is like too tragic, but there is some tragedy in Shunsui's backstory. So that is Shunsui's abilities explained, his Bankai abilities at least. I hope that K-Lab will pay homage to this character in the game, you know, by giving him appropriate strong attacks. You know, like I said, maybe he could have that ability where, you know, he gets hit and the opponent takes the same amount of damage. Maybe he could have weakening on some of his strong attacks. And, you know, I don't know what for the special, maybe it could be something where they're weakened as well, if you just want to go the simple route, or if you want to do something entirely new. It could be, I don't know, maybe a one-hit KO. Like, could that be a thing? And that might be too OP. But anyway, guys, that's all I have for this video. I hope you got something out of it. If you haven't read the manga, I hope you're more interested in reading it now to find out what these characters can do. And I highly recommend that you check out the manga because it's a great story. There's a lot of great action in it, and you'll know a lot more about the characters. And I think it will just overall increase your enjoyment of the game. So thanks for watching, everyone. That's all I have for this video. Let me know if you liked it. I'll probably do the other 3 manga characters in the next few days. Thanks for watching once again, guys, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.